And we're live. So today we're talking to another company that has some amazing ways of hiring people. And Calvin, you founded that company. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Calvin Johnson, and I own a company called Lykki.com, which is a play on the Danish word for happiness, Lykki.com. And we're an e-commerce company. We sell over 60,000 products to end-user businesses. And our goal is to help our customers consolidate from having dozens of suppliers and just order on one website, one delivery, one invoice. So keep it nice and simple.
And you guys are based in?
Yeah, we're in Vancouver, Canada.
There you go. And you guys have a really good culture, which I know is important to you, and also why you named your company after the Danish word for happiness, which I think is really awesome. And one area you focus on a lot is hiring the right people, because I guess, you know, if you hire the wrong people, how are you ever going to create a good culture, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, longevity of employees really makes a difference, but also having the wrong employees stay for a long time can also be really toxic. So, you know, building that company culture and family atmosphere is super important. So you hear it all the time, right? You know, hire slow, fire fast. So we spend a ton of time on doing that, and made a lot of mistakes along the way, but, you know, we've kind of not perfected it, but, you know, I think we have some pretty good tricks.
So share some of your tricks. What are some ways you found that work really well so that you can hire the right people and not hire the wrong people?
Yeah. So, you know, at Lykki too, our offices are all decorated like the Caribbean beach town. And so when we do a lot of tours, one of the things that we share with people, whether it's customers or other companies that come through for a tour, we spend a lot of time talking about this hiring practice that we have. So I'll kind of walk through. What we did was we took this from the book that's called Top Grading. So slightly encouraged, not highly encouraged, slightly encouraged kind of dabbling in top grading, because the book is like 1,000, it's like War and Peace of HR. But you can kind of tease out of that a lot of different ideas. So we've kind of bastardized and created our own thing and tried different things along the way. So I'll kind of walk through how that works. So really, in our hiring practice, it's a process of elimination. We only want to end up at the end of this funnel with one or two or maybe three people for the job that we're actually just torn with. Why can't we just hire all three people? These are just fantastic people. If you can ever get to that stage, that's a great problem to have. So step one or tip number one is we're always hiring. You'll see that all across our website and all over the place and in our signatures and everywhere. We're always trolling for great people, even if we don't have a space. And we're not a large company. We're under 40 people.
So it's not like you need a person for this position. Oh my God, we need somebody just quit. We need one next week. Let's hire whoever.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a great point, because that's usually what happens is, holy shit, this guy quit, or this person went on pregnancy leave or something. And we've been in business 30 years. It constantly happens. So we want to be trolling for great people. And you may take them partway through the process and maybe park them or say, hey, you're a great person. And hopefully they would say the same thing somewhere along the way, saying, I'd love to come work for you. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of put them, we call it warming the bench. So we're kind of ready, like in baseball, okay, out on the field you go. So this whole funnel is all about process of elimination, filling the funnel with lots of prospects, putting them through a process, and hopefully up the bottom. So the first one is we write a really wacky ad. We're a wacky company, so we want to put our best culture forward. So our ad is really long. And it's really about a day in the life of the company and also a day in the life of the position we're hiring for. You come in the morning, you know, level 5 high fives and get your coffee and talk about your desk. So why that's important is, of course, we're going to ask people later the most simple question. Tell me more about the job you think we're hiring for. I don't know. Out. So if they say, wow, I read your ad and it's the perfect ad. It's exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. It's like, okay, great. But anyway, so for the ad, there's a little trick that we add to the bottom. It's the cherry on the top of the sundae. It says, if you want to move to the front of the line and get an instant interview, send us a video. So do we care what kind of video? I couldn't care less. But we have had people do customized rap videos. We've had people running with their dog in the park. Hey, this is Jessica, and this is my dog. And amazing. Some people really go out of their way. Our customer service supervisor that we have now for a couple of years, and she was like 20 years old, young girl, but super mature. Just did it in her bedroom. Hi, this is Sydney. I'm really nervous, but you know, I want to step outside my comfort zone. And we're like, oh, we got to hire this girl. Like, you know, so anyway, so send in a video.
So, and you're not looking for something that's, you know, beautifully produced with great audio and video or whatever. It's just people made the effort and they showed a little bit about who they are. Does the video ever disqualify somebody? Does somebody ever make a video that's like, that's just too weird or?
No,
okay.
Not at that stage. Not at that stage. Sometimes you're right. I mean, we have to show a lot of compassion that somebody probably is really nervous, which doesn't make any sense nowadays, especially if it's like a millennial or something. They're like Snapchat and everything like, hey. So like, why can't you do a video?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of fast forwarding a bit, but what do you think one of the questions is we're going to ask? Why didn't you make a video? And then now the true personality starts to come out of people when you ask them difficult questions. Oh, my dog ate my phone and blah, blah, blah. The lighting wasn't right. It's like, okay, well, what kind of employee are you going to be then if you can't make a video? Or be honest, be open and honest. They're like, you know, you're right. It really stepped outside my comfort zone. I want to be honest with you. Okay, now you're starting to peel back the layers to see the person for who they really are, right? Doesn't disqualify them if they don't do a video. Maybe 5 to 10% of the time people do videos. It's actually pretty low. Okay, so from there, people would, you know, send in their resume. Of course, we'd have similar things other HR places would. If you don't have a cover letter, if you don't have other things, it's disqualified. Okay, this person, what's interesting? So we will email them back and say, love a chance to chat with you. Keep it kind of vague, not 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, I need to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I want to see if they're open to, you know, helping coordinate a time. We could be very flexible. And now this call, kind of internal, but what we call it is weed out the crazy. So we only want about a 10 to 15 minute phone call, and we tell them right up front, this is not an interview, it's a chance to get to know each other. So this is a 2-part. You go first. Tell me about yourself. Some people just blow it. Some people never connect or whatever. And then the second part is, I will tell you about the job and what we're about. The only major question that we ask out of that, they know that they're going to be on the phone with us, is, did you go to our website and what do you know about our business? Okay, process of elimination. You'd be shocked. Half people didn't do it. At the end of that call, what's really important then is a technique that we use all throughout it is kind of a check-in. So Alex, you know, after this 10 or 15 minute phone call, what do you think? Do you think this is something that we should pursue and move forward with? Wow. And then you would say, yeah, gosh, even more so. I'm more excited now than ever. Or if they're like, okay. And then from the interviewer's side, say, you know what? I think you have the skills. I think you have the quality. Or at that time, we'd say, you know what? Not really what we're looking for, but thanks very much. Cut it off. So if you move to the next stage, then we'd say, hey, Alex, great. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you some homework. I'm going to send you 17 pages of homework. Now, what's really important to us, and this comes from top grading, is that we have a lot of people that are applying for this job, and your resume and to be fair to everybody, what we'd like is all the information in the same spot. So I'm going to send you our Lykki career history form. And it's a chance for you to take your resume information and place it in the form. Also, what's really important, Alex, is, you know, when you come in for an interview and we ask you all these questions and you're like, and you're kind of got a brain fart and thing, we're going to tell you a bunch of those questions in advance, and you get a chance to answer those questions, type them up and send them in to us. Great. Sound interesting? Do you want to do that? Yeah, great. Okay. Send it up. Half the people we never hear from again. Even more so. Let's say 60, 70% of people never hear from them again. And we never, ever chase after that person. Hey, Alex, it's been 3 days. Why haven't you sent it in? No, gone. Fantastic. That's the best news ever. You invested 15 minutes, they're gone. Yeah. So people will send it in. Sometimes they don't fill it in. One of the important parts is what is your salary expectation? So we've never talked money. It does say in the ad kind of the range. We've never talked money. First thing we look at is we can see the career. They made $15 an hour, $18 an hour, $20 an hour. Career expectation, $100 an hour. So does it fit in with what their expectations are? Okay. So when we get that back within a reasonable amount of time, a couple days, 2-3 days, filled out correctly, now you can see, can they actually follow direction and are they interested? Automatically gets them, even if we don't think they're right fit, we promise if they filled it out, we will bring them in and do a face-to-face interview.
Right.
Super important back from top grading is each one of those careers has quite an extensive little spot about critiquing your manager.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think your manager did right? What do you think your manager did wrong? Can we contact your manager? Yes or no? People that build great relationships, A players, people that leave one business, move to the other, usually don't want to burn bridges. So of course, it's the last thing you want to do is hire someone that burns bridges. So if it's all no, you cannot contact. But a lot of times it's yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. So now you bring the person in and you review the form, you go through it. Typical interview now. Sometimes we start off with icebreakers. What's your favorite superpower if you could have one? And 747, and it's all full of ping pong balls. How many ping pong balls are inside? Critical analysis type questions, fun things. So again, near the end of the interview, so Alex, we've had this interview. What do you think? Do you think that you want to pursue this? Yeah, I'm super excited. I've seen the building. This is great. I'm even more excited than ever. Great, we think so, the same. So kind of the next step for us is to do some reference checks. We'd like to hear from some of these managers that you talk to. Not your uncle, not your friend, not your typical, because on the what's funny is on the resume, there will be references, mm-hmm. but it's usually not the people. So we'd say, okay, well, that company you worked for a couple of years, 2 years ago, Jane, the manager that you said was an inspiration to you, you said, yes, we can contact them. We'd love to talk to Jane. Mm-hmm. They said, yeah, sure, you could get a hold of Jane. No, you get a hold of Jane. You tell her what's happening. Here's our number. Call anytime. Mm-hmm. And so at this stage, after that interview, about half the people we never hear from again, mm-hmm. because it was all bullshit.
Right.
The A players, so we hired a guy in marketing, and after the interview, about 30 minutes later, a woman phoned. It was phoned me actually. Mm-hmm. Woman phones and said, Mike called me. I haven't talked to him in a few years. I'm working now at Yahoo, mm-hmm. and when Mike calls and says he needed something, I left a meeting. What do you need? I said, well, nothing. That's all I need. And they're like, great. He's a great guy. Gotta go. And I'm like, fantastic. And we hired him. Right?
Just the fact that she made the effort to call meant that he must have been a great guy. He made a great impression. He's somebody she wanted to help.
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't burn bridges. Stayed in touch. He was especially a marketing guy, right? So he was like super connected. And it was 2 years ago that she managed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, Mike's a great guy. If I could be a reference, I jumped out of a meeting. Fantastic.
Brilliant.
So from there, then we always want to have inclusion with peers. So if it is a department, they're going to be working with other people. We would bring them back in probably to do a peer interview. We haven't really made up our decision, but we had, if the position is open, we'd say, hey, here's somebody. And junior people, sometimes they get nervous in an interview, but it turns into kind of a chit chat session. And, they sit around the table. What kind of dog do you have? What kind of music do you like? And you're shocked at how important some of that is to peers. We have a call center and they have music that they play. Now, if somebody wanted death metal and somebody wanted country, it might not be a good fit. So, and then you would put an offer out and off you go. So I'll end with, it's probably a whole nother video, but from the day that you hire them, if you don't have an amazing onboarding process, mm-hmm. the whole thing falls apart because mm-hmm. the expectations are so high from the person that you hired that they come in day one, and then if it all falls flat, so you have to build the energy from there. And so we have about a 3-week process where it's all built around empathy, where they spend a lot of time working in every department in our company before they actually do their own job. Yeah. So we tell them that during the interview because usually people would say, what's your training process look like?
That is brilliant.
So there you go. That's kind of the full circle. We're running that all the time.
Yeah. And a couple of takeaways. First of all, it sounds like your process actually makes it a little bit harder for applicants than normal, right? They have to invest more of themselves, make the video, fill out this 17-page document. You go out and find a reference, make them call us. Um, so the people who end up going through all of that are really, really interested in this job.
Absolutely, yeah. Process of elimination from from both sides, and that's fantastic. That if you have an employee that ends up working for the competition that doesn't have their heart in it, and
Yeah.
that's where we want to send them, right? We want
Yeah.
people that are begging to come work for us, and they're
Yeah.
out there. It just takes time and energy to find them.
Yeah. And the other thing is that going through all of this, making the video, meeting with people from Lykki, you get a really good sense of what this organization is like. It's not just a 1 hour interview where people paint a really rosy picture of the organization. You probably have a really good sense of, okay, so this is what it's like. Is it for me or is it not for me? And you can make a better informed decision as an applicant, I guess.
Yeah, you nailed it, right? It is a two-way street. It's not just about us, wanting somebody. It's about somebody, finding their right fit. And we hear it all the time too, that people say, I didn't know this type of business was out there, or, I'm more excited now than ever. What do I need to do next? I'll do anything.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, it's great.
So what's your hit rate on this? I mean, how often do you get it right? How often do you still get the occasional wrong hire there? We tried everything. It was still not the right fit, or what's the success rate on this?
Yeah, that's a good question. The few times that we've gotten it wrong, we let somebody go a while ago, about a year ago, and we went back and looked at our training or hiring process, and we've cut some corners. So we were short on time. We didn't have the bench full, and it was another manager that kind of said, "Hey, I know somebody. I've worked with them before," and we brought them in. So they bypassed a lot of the steps. And they did the job very well. But everybody hated working with her.
That's
She was just a big wet blanket. So culture trumps, everything. I mean, if you don't get the culture right, then it's that one drop of black ink in a bucket of water. It taints the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you let that go, then you've lost everything that you've worked for.
Yeah. What do you see as the main advantages of your way of hiring?
I think the process, that anybody can run this process. It's pretty straightforward. That's probably the most important. We don't have an HR department or HR managers or hiring teams, and we don't outsource headhunters and all that stuff, fancy things. So simple process, and it's more. I think it's more built in the end on gut instinct, which really what culture is all about too. Is this person really going to be a fit? And a lot of times we have hired people that have no skills in the job we're hiring for, and even they're nervous and say, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll train you how to do the job. It's not rocket science, but you're a great person. You're going to be, you're going to be a good fit here. So you have the willingness. We'll train you."
I think that's brilliant. Are there any drawbacks, any disadvantages to the process as you see it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it's obviously it's kind of full of drawbacks all the way through that we could scare away. That's probably the number one. I had to think about it. Sometimes we potentially could have scared away people. That goes that goes against what we're talking about too. So if we scared them away, is that good or bad? I don't know. But even the people that we did hire that we talked to later, and they're like, "Oh my God, that was like." If another job came along that at the exact same time, or there was people were always like, "I don't know if I really want this job now, or they really make me work so hard for it." But what I love to hear is that peer conversation that I wouldn't be in the room necessarily, but you can kind of hear it happening and stuff. That usually that's a topic that comes up. The new person saying, "Wow, is it really this hard to fill all this stuff out?" And everybody says, "I know I did the same thing. I went through it too. It's not that bad." So it is the challenge, but I think it's fun. I kind of like it.
That is awesome. I think there's a lot of great ideas there that many companies could learn from, because I do think that hiring is massively undervalued. Hiring well, there's a Valve in Seattle, just down the coast from you guys. Yeah. They say hiring is the most important thing in the universe. And if you get hiring wrong, everything else is going to go wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, you see it all through companies, and even especially you see it when you have partners that work together or things like that. That if you might have founders or partners, I'm sure you've dealt with lots too. And then if they don't get along or the culture's not right at the top, the whole thing turns into a disaster.
Yeah. And I think what you're doing is it allows people to, it allows you to hire the right people who will be happy at work at Lykki. And because they like what they do, they will do better work, and that will make the company more successful. They will stay longer. You won't have to suddenly hire a replacement for them, and everything just, goes into a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, and all the fun things that you're trying to do in your culture. If you hire people that don't believe in your culture and they don't want to play along, and that's no fun. If you have parties and things, nobody wants to come because they don't believe in it, then you've probably done a bad job at hiring too.
Well, this has been awesome, Calvin. Thank you so much for sharing all of your great ideas. Thank you for being an inspiration.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.